All right, we are back with the esteemed Amy Hunt and the sidekick Justin. So, figured we bring these guys back online. It's been a while. It's actually been a while for me to be on YouTube in general because we've been moving for the last couple of months. So, thank you everybody to come out tonight, and we hope to have some fun.
What are you doing? Okay.
Like I asked you to.
I thought you said connect here.
Oh, I was pointing right there.
I don't know.
All right, so it's been a bit. How you guys been lately?
Good.
Busy.
Good. Yeah. Busy and good. Busy. So, we have, the campaign's active for book 5. We are finishing that. I'm working with Dave Lentz, who's our, graphic designer, letterer, kind of guru. We're finishing the tweaking on the trade paperback, and we're working on the omnibus all at the same time as book 5. So it's a work in progress. So
I'm surprised your hair is not white, completely white yet from this.
It's getting there.
I think.
Oh yeah.
I had it trimmed today, so otherwise it would have been blinding. So it was all dark until I met somebody about 6 years ago, and it's white.
Meanwhile, I still have dark.
Right, because you sucked the soul out of me.
I took all of your dark.
Yes, Genevieve.
That's how it is for me. All the kids make my hair start turning gray. As soon as it gets long, it's gray. So it's like, nope, time to shave it back off.
Yeah, you got to start over sometimes. And that's what the beard. The longer the beard gets, the older I get. Like every half inch is 10 years. So by the time it hits like an inch and a half, I look like I'm 70 something.
You did look old when I saw you in person.
Yeah. I am. Thanks, jackass.
See, I get away with that. No, I mean, you guys have been, y'all been busting it. I've been seeing the campaign. This campaign's been doing really well. And you got Simon freaking Beasley, man. That is freaking awesome, dude. Yeah, I mean, that is badass. Yeah. How many people can say they have him? I mean, the only people I've seen recently do it was Coffin and you. That's the only 2 people I've seen do it lately.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty fun. It was
surreal for you.
It's still surreal. I've been a fan of his since 80s, 90s, right? When he was doing all the heavy metal and then the Fuck too, and then he came out Lobo, and I mean, and he's always been a fan. I've always been a fan, and I have tons of heavy metal magazines. We were at Rose City Comic Con. We were visiting some other art friends of ours and walked down the aisle, and I was like, "Oh my God, look, it's Simon Bisley."
That's not what you did.
And
that's not what you did.
Don't lie. You tell the story then.
He was like, "Oh, Simon Bisley!" Like just fangirl.
Boy,
I would have fangirled out too. Though.
I mean, it was, and then like he met him. Oh my gosh, Mr. Bisley! Oh my gosh, it's so amazing to meet you. Oh, I'm such a huge fan. Blah, blah, blah. Right, and then we walk away, and he's like,
"Oh,
what?"
He had. I still have it back there. He had a Lobo cover that he just finished. I watched him finish it, like a blank cover.
And then we walked away, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, I'd really like to get that." I was like, "If you want to, go for it." I mean, how often are you gonna be here and actually buy it from him and see him again? So he like, as soon as that got out of my mouth, he took off.
So I went back. Got it. So I went back and I got it, and I was like,
still like,
I was like, "Hey, and by the way, would you be interested? We have a comic series we're working on. I think that the character plays to your artistic skill set and design, but also like we're cautious about it because he over sexualizes certain characters sometimes. So you can't take that away from him because that's him." And I asked him, I said, "We'd like to maybe, July, August." And we were thinking for like book 6 or something like that. And he's like, "Why don't we do it now?" And I was like, Humana.
Seriously, that's
what I didn't have anything.
Cool.
So I messaged his manager, and her and I exchanged a couple emails, and we came up with a price, including we have the OA. So we did that. I'm missing a kidney. She's missing a kidney. So we can pay for it. But we have the OA. And then he also, when he sent it to us, was sent an email to him. And I was like, hey, when you're doing this, could you take a picture of you like holding it? So he took a couple like cool pictures, and he's all like posing with the original art and stuff. And then so he sent that, but he also sent his original layout sketch. And we actually, for this campaign, because we have the original art and we have his sketch, we said if we hit 200 backers, which we're not at yet, but if we hit 200 backers, his original pencils we're going to send to somebody for free.
I know. Let's get there. I want to win it.
So, but we do have giveaways for tonight to surprise people. So,
oh yeah, you got to stay tuned. You never know what's going to happen here.
So yeah, so we got the biz.
But his cover looks so amazing as the metal. I don't know if you can tell it. This is the metal print right here, but it is so vibrant. So it's awesome.
Oh yeah.
It's not the thin aluminum stuff. It's 16 inches by 24 inches. There's only 5 of them made. It can be an add-on for $125. So we're actually obviously we want one for our archives, but like the colors are so pretty, man. And his art just, this is almost like what you would have, like, remember in the 80s, the felt,
yeah,
or the black light,
velvet, yeah, the felt,
that's what this is. It's gorgeous.
I miss that. Like, I remember in the early 90s, right, when Beasley first came aboard, right, Lobo was a character that kind of got thrown to the wayside after the Omega Men and after Kirby was done with DC. So to bring him back as a true character, it was a huge thing for everybody. You know, everybody loved the drawings from him. Same way when Sam Keith came in and started doing, Wolverine and the Max and stuff like that. Like, that aesthetic, not many people can do anymore. Like, you see Jay Lee still does it, but those three, that's about it now. Nobody really tries to go that style anymore.
Well, and his style is unique. Simon, if you ask him how he does it, like, what do you use? And I'm not even going to try his accent, but basically he's like, I grab some of this, and if I run out of it, I just grab some of this. And if I need paint, I'll just grab paint. And sometimes I use pastels, and it's whatever color I need that I have nearby that I don't have to get up from my chair to get. So
very technical.
It is.
Oh, very.
It is. So yeah, it's super cool to have a Simon Bisley cover.
That's what was crazy. He came here to Cowtown a couple of years ago, and getting to meet. And this is like a I'm not going to say like a podunk, kind of con, but it's not a fan expo, right? It's not a big time C2E2. It's a small one that we do here, but we bring a lot of people out for it. And when Beasley was there, I was like, I did the same thing you did. I walked right up, I'm like, how much is that? I'm like, whoo-hoo. Then no, because I was still paying you. And I was like, huh. I mean, his prices are up there, but it is Simon Beasley, right? It's like when you go see like John Romita, right? Like if I see John Romita do a drawing, like, all right, I want to get one, like a full size 11 by. I know you have one.
The Batman.
Oh, the Batman. Gotcha.
That's what the JR is.
Okay.
I wasn't rubbing it in. I was just telling you I have.
Because I don't. Because I'm still learning names. Yeah. And styles. So
John Romita made Spider-Man who he is today.
Yep.
That's what it comes down to.
It's
if it wasn't for him.
Rubenstein up there is the guy who created the Wolverine the way the Wolverine is.
Oh.
Yeah. And he's really cool to meet in person too. Joe is, and he'll sit there and talk to you forever too.
So yeah, Joe Rubenstein's really cool. I walked up to him at a show and I was like, hey, I don't know if you're doing commissions. He goes, there's nobody in line. What do you want? He's very like to the point, right? It's like, obviously I want a Wolverine. He goes, all right, what do you want him doing? You want him like smoking? You want him doing this? I was like, I want him with claws out, but I want him like naked. He's like, I'll put underwear on him. So he drew, I got Wolverine with just a pair of underwear on. And then he hands it to me and he's like, wait, give it back. And I'm like, okay. So I hand it to him and he grabs a red Sharpie and he starts doing all the blood on the claw. Like, now you can have it back. I was like, all right. So
I saw him about 5 years ago and I had him do a saber tooth. He always does Wolverine. So I said, hey, can you do me a saber tooth? And he's like, this is going to be hard. He said, I'm only drawing Wolverine.
Yeah. Well, you just don't have to do the hair for Sabretooth. It's a little different. But it's cool. Like, I think I'm going to do a post one day of like all the different art from all the other artists that are here in the studio. Because, I mean, we got everything in here. And it's inspirational, right? You sit in here and you're like, oh, this guy started drawing back in the 60s and 70s, you know? Or you look at something like, I don't know, like the Alex Ross, right? Or the Kevin Eastman piece. And you're like, you know, they started off doing nothing. And then they felt that traction. So like when Ninja Turtles first came out, it had a very small cult kind of subterranean following, no pun intended. And then it just caught, right? Mm-hmm. And then like with NinjaWitch and stuff, it's like we have a following of X, right? But what if all of a sudden, like, and that's why we keep doing it, right? We're building that foundation. And the more people who read it, the more people who are like, oh, I dig the character. I dig this. And we were just like her big thing, and she might not talk about it, so I will. We were at the last convention and she made the full costume. So she was out walking around and somebody came over to her unfiltered and all, like unprovoked rather, and walked over and was like, you're NinjaWitch. And she's like, yes, I am. Recognized the character, which was really cool.
That was really fun.
I mean, that's got to be a surreal moment, right? Like when you finally get a fan that walks up and sees that, right?
Crazy. Gabe was with me. My son was with me when that happened. He was my handler at that time. And and then I had a couple people come up and ask who I was.
A handler. Big time.
Gabe.
But yeah, we sold so many books at Emerald City Comic Con. I want to say between like the 4-packs, so you buy book 1, 2, 3, 4 together, and then they added Anastasia, and I want to say we probably sold, just on my counts alone, 85 sets, 90 sets.
Dang, that's a good sale.
Plus people buying singles, and then we only have one Anastasia special cover, so the blood splatter is numbered 1 through 15. I think we only have one left. We only got like 15 Hammer of the Gods left. Everything else is just it. We showed up with 5 long boxes and we left with 2.
That's a good. Now, how many days were you guys there?
3.5.
That's not bad.
It's not 4.
Thursday doesn't really count.
Oh.
That's the half day.
Well, and you had help, which I think it's Kevin right there that said hello.
I don't know.
I don't know who the other ones are, but hi guys.
Hey guys.
So it was a really good show. A lot of fans, a lot of people. We sold a lot of prints. We gave away a PS5.
We did give away a PS5.
So that all they had to do is spend $30 and sign up for our mailing list, and somebody randomly got it. But we had a lot of people, Nathan, who would come up and like, oh, I'll buy. One lady bought like $100 worth of stuff. I was like, would you like to enter in for the PlayStation? No. What would I do with it?
Or we already have one.
I don't know. Sell it, give it away, throw it off a bridge. I don't give a shit. Shoot it, whatever. Like, you can win a free PlayStation 5.
Exactly. I would have played it. I don't care. Even though I got one, right? Because I can put one on the upstairs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why not?
Sell it.
Yeah. I told the one lady, I was like, you got sons or nephews? Yeah, I have 3 of them. Do they play video games? Yeah. Christmas.
Be the
Cool aunt.
Free,
So,
and it's free.
Yeah.
That's the main thing. Free 99.
Yep. But it was a really good show. We're already set for next year to do a booth. We had a 20 by 20 booth.
That's a good size booth, actually.
Yeah,
It was big.
Yeah, it was plenty of stuff, and we'll have more stuff for next year. We got some plans coming up this year. Mm-hmm. So the book is really exciting. The story is book 5 is a so you read book 4, right, Nate? And
yeah.
that has that big wow moment in that. That's nothing.
It's the culmination.
That's nothing. This is like next level. Oh my God, what the F is happening? I can't believe and everything that people are like, oh, I think it's gonna be this, or I think this, and then you read it and you're like, what? I mean, I'm super happy with it. So,
and I'm excited because it's going back to the beginning, right? And book 5 is supposed to bring everything back to where we started at with book 1.
It does,
right? And so I'm excited to see what actually happens, because I mean, other than the little tidbit that's in Kickstarter, right? It says, "Hey, should she really be part of the Sanctum anymore?" Right? And it's like, it's a good little tidbit, but I'm ready for the book to come out so I can read it.
Yeah. So we're happy to answer limited questions.
Yeah, some questions.
So, and we're happy to talk about Anastasia, which is the spinoff. And we're primarily talking NinjaWitch, but we do have Hammer of the Gods, which I announced something really cool today. I don't know if you saw it, but
I have not seen it. I've been at work. I literally just got off work.
So, I haven't seen it either, so this will be exciting for me too.
Then you got to spill the beans then.
You're tagging it.
I don't look at
I even Facebook. Said thank you and then tagged Mythos, so Miss I run the thing.
I do.
So the book Hammer of the Gods, for those who don't know it, I wish I had a copy in front of me so I could show it. But they're out there.
Impact away.
I know, but they're out there if you wanted to get one. But it's as a kid, I was inspired by songs from Led Zeppelin and some other artists like Pink Floyd and stuff like that. But some of the Led Zeppelin songs were, for me, they were transcendental, and they took me to like this place of mythos and place of stories and wizards and stuff like that, right? Because they have the, like, even in some of them, they're talking about Mordor and Gollum, and they're talking about lands far away, and they give you these visuals, and the music just pulls you in. And Immigrant Song was always that for me. And it was one of those songs where I don't care where I was and I heard it, either I wanted to drive my car 15 miles an hour faster, or I felt that creative spurn of, we got to do something. So took the song, which is, I think it's 8 lines, the lyrics, expounded it to an 80-something line poem, and then took that poem and rewrote it and scripted it into a comic and did panel by panel. And it's from a narration. So the narrative is through it as if somebody's narrating it, and there's no dialogue. So there's no words.
I like those.
It's just you're reading it, and the story, the art, Jarrett Katz, like, he killed it. The art is phenomenal in it. And as you read it, it takes the short song that they wrote and makes it this epic journey of going across the ocean to find this village, to attack the village, to beat the village, to take all their gold and their women, and then to rebuild the village and merge the Viking culture with the Celtic culture to get this new type of world. And as of today, about 5 hours ago, Robert Plant from Led Zeppelin is reading it.
Nice, dude. That's fucking awesome.
No, I'm sorry, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I didn't know what you're talking about. I got it.
I posted that on Facebook.
Okay.
And I said thank you to you and Jarrett and Nick, but yeah, he's got the book, and I even fanboyed on that one, and I wrote a she's rolling her eyes. I wrote a personal letter to him. I hand wrote it, explaining it and all. And so we may or may not get pictures of Robert Plant reading our book. We may or may not get a letter back from him. Either way.
Well, his publicist lady actually, when she told us that he got it. Now, granted, it was through email, so you can't really get tone through that. But it sounded very exciting. She sounded very
Robert freaking Plant.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was good news today.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Whether or not he sends us anything, the fact that he has the book and he knows that these lyrics from 54 years ago are still relevant and inspiring people. You know what I mean? Like next month, I think it is, or the month after, he turns 77 soon. So like, imagine that, and like, I'm looking back, and for me, I'm still thinking, like, I was actually driving home today and Kashmir came on, and I was like, holy shit, this dude has our comic in his house. Like, it's cool.
In his hot little hands.
Yeah.
It's great. Well, Zeppelin and Floyd's always been some of my big ones because we're about the same age. So we come from the same generation. And that's what I grew up with, right? Like, especially when the first and the second album came out. The fourth album came out, everybody loved Stairway, but that wasn't always my favorite song.
No.
Houses of the Holy was always one of my favorite songs.
Yep.
And the Misty Mountaintop, right? And
Misty Mountaintop, yep. The Rain song.
The Rain song, looking out the door.
Yep.
That's those kind of stories don't get made in a song that much anymore, right? Like, when's the last time you heard a Floyd type of song, right? You won't, unless you're still watching Dave Mason trying to sing, or Roger Waters and them doing a reunion tour, which we know that'll never happen with David Gilmour.
But nothing original. There's no more ballads.
No. It's song. There's this huge solo, and then that's it, right? And then there's no extension of that. There's no coda, no pun intended.
Yeah.
But the Catch-22 is like songs aren't done that way anymore. And so that's why we have to live vicariously through the old music that we had before, because that's what we grew up with. And that's what actually made sense back then.
Yeah. And I like it because it's episodic. You can listen to it. There's a sound to it. You can envision stuff. Like, it gives you visions. And a lot of the music today is very, like, I also listen to EDM, and I listen to that because it helps with PTSD, right? It's just this boom, boom, boom. But there's nothing to it. There's no substance. There's no story to it. I'm getting an image. I'm just listening to something. So.
And that's why, like, a lot of time now I listen to atmospheric metal, right? For that reason. Because there's not even really a lot of singing. It's just the music behind it, right? It's that kind of transcendentalism.
Yeah.
Kind of music, like Haley's band, Aquilas and those
Soul
kind, right? And Soul Dust, because it's just that type of music. And I like hearing that. And a lot of it's because I grew up in Japan, right? And we hear that kind of music, right? And it's the song. There's nobody really singing. It's just the music behind it, And so I'm the same way. I love that kind.
Amy has a bunch of like Tibetan singing bowls in her thing, and she just rings them, and then she stands in the middle and she's like, oh, and it sounds like all those giant things from the Dark Crystal when they went out.
Oh, yes.
Oh yeah, I can hear it in the back sometimes when I'm drawing. I
have one.
Oh.
I have one Tibetan singing bowl. And I only do it sometimes.
Sometimes you got to relax. And that's all you got to do.
Then she's burning sage, and I can feel my neck burning.
Well, that's the demons coming out.
Yeah, exactly. So I have to burn it around him every now and then.
Speaking of demons, how's book 5?
We're
not giving it. We're just saying, if you like demons, you'll like book 5.
You like demons.
Mm-hmm.
No more mermaids.
Yeah, there's no mermaids in this one. But I think we posted it on the Kickstarter, but this is the battle of the, not the battle of the century, the battle of centuries. Like it's, was it 5 pages, 6 pages?
It's a long book. This one's going to be a little on the longer side.
Yeah, it's
longer than the last couple.
It's 28 to 32 pages because I can't remember because we had to tweak some stuff. So
not as long as book 1, but longer than the last couple.
Well, book 1 was 2 chapters, so it's kind of hard to say. The average comic is 22 pages, and we've never done 22-page book.
I appreciate that.
Anastasia was 13,
but that was.
And then we added the stuff, but it was
supposed to be.
Supposed to be what?
Shorter.
Yeah, it was supposed to be like an ash can, but we couldn't do it in 8 pages, so we're like, all right, we'll just make it a little bit bigger. And the style in that one is really cool. The colors on the inside and stuff like that. It's all black and white and gray. And then the only color that's in it is red. And
I like that.
Yeah, so the beginning of the book, it's all black and white, black and white, black and white. And then there's just like the red gets more and more. It takes up more and more of the page. And then it kind of dwindles off. So you got this like crescendo of blood and it like fades out. So it's very epoch kind of a story. And then we're introducing basically 3 new characters, including Gabe.
Including Gabe.
Gabe has a cameo. He has a whole page to himself.
He has a whole page just for him.
That's awesome.
He's
immortalized into a comic book.
And he actually signed his first autograph on the book at Emerald City.
Yeah. It took him like an hour to practice because he doesn't know how to do cursive.
Yeah. They don't teach cursive nowadays, but he did it.
Yeah. So Anastasia's introduced. Gabe's character, we call him Gunner in the book. He's introduced, and then Flynn is introduced. And people who read it, you can read it by itself, and it doesn't have to do with books 1 through 4. But on the same sense, it does bring NinjaWitch into it. And if you understand how NinjaWitch works within society and within the centuries and how she recruits, this plays into it. So now when we introduce this character later, people don't have to ask who she is. So it's like that spin-off kind of thing. And we took the what if. So obviously it's Anastasia from Anastasia Romanoff, but this is a what if she didn't die?
What if those rumors were true? She didn't die.
Yeah. Go ahead.
NinjaWitch got her and turned her into an assassin.
Yep.
It's pretty sweet.
I'm excited.
We did put in her backstory too, like the actual history of the Romanoffs, kind of, and how that all went down. And
and then we took it from the point of the soldiers go into the room and start shooting everybody to what happens after that.
Yeah.
And then we basically go and we're like, all right, this is what we know, and here we pick her up in 1953. And this one reads like a James Bond, Jason Bourne story. It's really cool. And Flynn is introduced, and if you know, throughout all the other books, we drop little bits of history in them. Yeah. So we tell all the readers, if you're reading any of the NinjaWitch, and we mention a name, we mention a date, we mention a location, look that shit up.
Yeah, it means something.
So that was a really fun book.
It was fun.
It was a fun book.
And it's available on the Kickstarter, which I appreciate that you guys did put that as an add-on for that.
Yeah.
And Battle of the Gods.
Yeah.
Yes.
We just thought it was cool that people could get books 5 and then to get 1 through 4 and then the add-on.
Yeah, we don't want to keep things as like con exclusives. Like we want to share it.
Yeah, we premiered it at the con, and that was it. And then we did the blood splatter as, but we have the one left. So somebody says, I want it, we'll sell it to them. But you know what I mean? It's when you put like the Emerald City logo on something, you're really limiting it. So somebody who's never been there, like, who cares, right? And then we also do really low runs, like variants. The Simon Bisley is the primary cover for book 5. Larry Tuason did a fantastic cover. Like, it's gorgeous. And Sanju did the colors on it, and it's
really nice.
Yeah.
It's a lot. Like, he did really good putting like everything that she embodies, including Belladonna. Her raven was in there, and so much detail. Like, you said he has a magnifying glass while he's drawing to get the teeny tiny little detail. It's insane. It's really cool.
Well, because when he draws so fucking small. Like, his artwork was so small. This is all NinjaWitch original art, by the way. For the people who are wondering. So, oops, sorry. So, like, this is his pencils. They're so small, but like the details are so right. So then,
yeah, you look at that, you can see it. Is that an 8.5 by 11 or an 8 9
smaller? It's 8 by 10. Yeah,
8 by 10.
Yeah, and then the image is even smaller. So then I had it printed on blue, and then I had to ink the whole damn thing to get it to the colorist. So, so I've done 1.5 covers, I guess, for this one, but it was cool inking it. He has a really nice crisp style, and
but we didn't do very many variants this go round because it got to just be way too much the last couple times with so many different options, and we're just like, you know what, we're going to keep it simple this time around.
Well, that and too, that way also when people want to get like the bigger package and they want to get all the books, like everybody doesn't have $500, right? So now you can get the one, you pick up the 2 others, well, actually 3 other, right? Because I did the one where I drew her as a pop.
The Funko.
As a Funko Pop.
Yeah.
Then, which we were just sitting downstairs one day and I just started doodling. I was like, oh, this will be fun. And then I have the surprise cover. So basically you can get 4 covers and then you have the whole thing. And then if you want to get the special foil or the metal or whatever else, you know, the flavor that the person wants. But we realize that, you know, people earn their money and they want to spend it. And if they want to spend it for us, we don't want them to have to, oh, I got to get all these. But what we will say is the Bisley is the #1 cover. So when everything sells out, that will be the cover that keeps going, right?
Yeah.
But my covers and Larry's covers, when they sell out, they're done. So we're not reprinting Larry's covers. We're not reprinting my covers. So if they only sell 15 of them or 80 of them, that's it. That's the circulation, period. So that, you know, let's say we get 6, 7 years down the road and it becomes a staple comic, right? And it's just 1 cover per whatever. People can look back and be like, oh, I have one of the 7 of this cover or the one of whatever. So
it makes it special.
Yeah. And speaking of special, we have something very cool for anybody who gets the Supreme Ninja. Last book, we gave out a custom hand-carved
mug.
Tankard.
The
tankard.
Yeah.
And then it actually came in a giant treasure chest, a wooden box with all the comics in it and everything. So it was all engraved on with their name on it. NinjaWitch, you're part of the Chosen. It was all wood burned on it. So they got this huge thing. Before that, they got I don't know. We've given out letter opener, like katana letter openers, messenger bags.
I can't remember what
the chrome metal print was a surprise.
Was it?
I don't know.
I can't remember anymore.
But we did a bunch of there's always something cool that you get, right? When you get that level. This one's no exception. It is the item that those people are going to get is time consuming. It is a one of a kind piece. It's if we were to put it up on sale, it was probably a $500 item by itself. So
Showing?
no, it's a surprise.
Gotcha.
They can
Can't
pay for it and get it and then tell everybody what they got, but we're not showing them.
Is it the one thing that you did before that was about yay big, that we had showed a little piece about? I'm just trying to get a hint.
That's uncharted territory, Nate. Possibly.
Possible. Okay.
So
Well,
right now,
whoever gets that is going to be freaking ecstatic. I'll tell you
right
that.
now, there's only one backer for that. And if we get more, then I will sit at that table and create more.
And I will bring him drinks.
Lots and lots of
Repeatedly.
drinks. But yeah, so that's what we're doing on that one. And then when we do the trade paperback, it will be just the trade paperback. There's nothing, right? Here's the trade paperback. I am talking to Joseph Michael Linsner for doing a cover for that. So
He is not cheap.
he's not, but neither is that guy.
Nope.
And neither was Mike Chrome, and neither was some of the others. So we would rather have a really good product, right? That people can look at it and be really happy to have it. And then for the omnibus, I am painting the cover.
I'm super excited about this one.
Oh, I want to see when you get closer.
Why don't you describe it?
Well, it's so, like when you look back at like in your history book, like paintings from like the Revolutionary War.
Oh yeah.
And like the battle scene paintings. That's what I had envisioned for the omnibus, and I said, "This is what I want. Make it happen."
So I'm going to do the large painting, and we'll have it scanned down, and on all the omnibuses, they will get that image on the cover, the hardcover, and then we will have. There's no special to get whatever's, but we are making 2 hand-carved leather editions with embossing and latches and everything. 2 of them. All the lettering will be hand-painted in gold. It's like they're each one's like an $800 book, right? One's going on the shelf, and then one will randomly go to one of the people who buys an omnibus. So they get the regular omnibus plus that one.
You're killing me. You're killing me, Smalls.
So they have to buy the omnibus to be in it. And then, so if we only get 10 people buy omnibus, you get a 10% chance, right?
Hey, I like those chances.
If we get, so the more people who buy it, but, and then, so for every omnibus they buy, they get an entry. So you buy 2 omnibus, you get 2 entries. Your name gets randomized. You get assigned a number by random. We put the numbers into the randomizer, roll the die. The die says 4. You hit random 4 times. Whatever number that is, that's who gets the book. So we'll, just like we did the giant movie posters, right?
Yeah.
Kat Englund out in Delaware got one of those, and nobody knew. We just mailed it. Here you go. And she got this giant fucking box.
Remember, she was like almost going to be on vacation while it was being delivered to, and we're like, "Oh crap!"
Yeah,
because we couldn't tell her.
Yeah,
couldn't tell her it's coming.
So
yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, so we like to do things like that to basically say thanks. We may have some fun stuff going out in the Kickstarter. Since we're talking about it, sometime tonight we'll do it. So I don't know if you can see how many people are viewing this, Nate.
We have 2 right now.
Okay. But what we will be doing is sometime between now and the end of the night, we're giving this away. We're giving one of these medals away to one of the viewers.
See, that's why you got to stick around. That's why and then Tattoo Toy Hunters in. Thank you, brother.
So,
yeah, that's kind of how my giveaways go too when I do them. Me and Bob we kind of come up with special things every year for Coffin to do. And the best part is you just don't know who's going to win. You really don't.
Yeah. Speaking of that, Bob and I have to get them made, but the Coffin veterans patches.
Yeah.
Brian approves them, and that's going through. Speaking of Brian, do you want to tell that part?
Can we?
Sure.
Brian is writing the forward, right? Yeah, the forward for our omnibus.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, it's really cool. And we got to see him at Rose City. Or, sorry, Emerald City. Emerald City, not Rose City. We were not.
Yeah.
Now, was he there as just by himself, or was he there with Coffin?
Coffin.
No, he was not at the Coffin. He was there.
Had his Coffin thing.
He had his Coffin stuff. He was there as Brian Pulido as a creator. So they had him as a guest creator. So he had a thing over at like the Artist Alley, but on the end. So he went as Brian Pulido creator, and he had his Coffin stuff with him. And Francesca went also, but she got sick on the first day, so she didn't participate. She spent most of the time in the hotel. So, but it was good to see him.
Yeah, we got to see him say hi.
So
he got to ask some questions.
Yep. And luckily he didn't coin me, because when I went over to say hi, I didn't have a coin with me.
Oh, you know better than that.
I forgot it.
I didn't either. You didn't warn me.
I wasn't thinking. Well, I saw him on setup day, so.
But when I went over,
I wasn't thinking.
He set you up.
He did.
I bought you steak afterwards. You're good.
You bought that to tame the gay beast who was hangry.
Yeah, we got done Saturday, and Gabe had like a $30 coupon to like Uber Eats or whatever the DoorDash or whatever. So we're in the hotel, and he found this pizzeria, and the pizza, by the time it was done, it was like $120 for this pizza to be delivered.
It would have taken like an hour to get it.
And I was like, no, get your stuff on. So we went to celebrate a really good Emerald City. We went to Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. And
oh, yeah.
I know what I did. He complained. He didn't want to walk. He didn't want to go.
Until they put the steak in front of his ass. Then he was just like.
And then he's fine.
Yeah.
Mood changed. He was great.
So.
Oh my God, it's like butter. It's like butter.
He looks at me and goes, it's melting. It's melting. So it was fun. So what
now for Emerald City, did they have you guys on the main floor or on the other floor?
So their main floor was in the basement.
That was a mess.
But that was all like comic vendors, like comic shops. We were on the primary floor, I would call it. So we were on the same floor as Artist Alley.
Gotcha.
So people were going up for Artist Alley. We were off to the other side. We were right next to Mountain Northwest. We were next to Keith Tucker, who did Tiny Toons. It was a couple booths down from Jimmy Cummins.
Jim Cummins is a good dude. We had him out here.
Yeah, Jimmy Mulligan, rather. Yeah, he's good. I grabbed an Indiana Jones print from him. It's the only thing I bought there. It's the only thing I bought. It's the first time I stayed under $100 at a show. So we were in a good location. Next year, we're going to be closer to artists, like kind of facing Artist Alley.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to pay a little bit to be there, but I think it's worth it, because most people are going to Artist Alley and they sit there, they see a publishing house right there. Because this year we went as like 75-80% Mythos and a little bit of my stuff, and next year we're not doing any of my stuff. It's just the Mythos.
Mm-hmm. Really?
Yeah, I don't.
You know what? They have a lot of prints.
I sold all my Winnie the Pooh, Do You Pooh stuff, but.
Did you end up selling all the books? I know you still had a couple that you were selling the other day.
I got like, I don't know, 15 left.
Yeah, we sold a lot.
For the Do You Pooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got like 15
Yeah, we
left.
sold a lot of them.
We've been selling them here too. People message and ask, and I box it and send it out. And we've been selling some of the Hammer to Gods. Some people had actually bought that, and you got a copy. So we took some of it and we set it aside where we didn't want to mail till after the convention. We didn't want people getting it before they could get it at the convention, because we said we're going to premiere at the convention. So it's not really a premiere if you already give it to somebody. So we waited. But speaking of you got next month, man, you got a package coming.
I can't wait.
So it's been a time coming.
Yeah, I know you needed time with that one. You know me, I'm never in a rush. You know, that's the thing, is so many guys get kind of worked up about it. Oh, I want it now, but it's like, you know what? You guys have real lives too. It isn't just comic books all the day. It isn't just art all the time either. You know, so people need to be patient and understand that.
It should be nothing but comics. I shouldn't work anywhere else. We should be making $1 million a year making comic books. But I'm putting it out there.
Yeah.
Hey, put it out there. It might come true.
So, what questions do you have for us, Nate, or any of the viewers for NinjaWitch Book 5?
Anything Mythos.
Anything, yeah.
And that's what I want to kind of go over is the actual Kickstarter, so that people can see it out there. Okay. So here we go, folks. And I always like playing these little things.
Oh, that's pretty cool, though. We did something cool there.
So let me play that.
We think that's pretty fun.
Yeah.
Hey, look at that, though. I like seeing that kind of dollars.
Yep.
All right. So yeah, I just want to kind of go through the different covers so everybody can see it. This is the Simon Beasley.
So cool.
The Larry. I love how that turned out, though, with the colors too.
Headwind is magic
It's
with that.
Colors for purple.
Yeah, it's all right. You know what? I'm not fighting it anymore.
No.
Well, no, actually, but in this book, she has her costume's purple tinted. So
True.
This is 300 years before the modern one where she's all black. So it's a costume. It changes over years, right? It's a fun one.
You made the pop cover.
Yep.
You know what would be kind of cool? So, you know the Funko itself, right?
Yeah,
they make it to where you can make a pop, right? If you guys actually made a NinjaWitch pop like that and sold it,
cute.
It's pricey. I looked into it. We have to order at least 500 of them.
Good grief!
Yeah, you have to order 5 in order to do something like that. Like if you want to pop yourself, it's basically taken from like preset things. But if you want to make a custom one like this with the boxes and everything, you gotta have an order of 500, and it's a $3,800 something production fee, plus altogether it's like $28,000.
Definitely not worth it then.
Yep, not yet.
Cover D, the secret cover,
which is actually pretty cool.
Are you going to show it tonight, or are you going to make everybody wait?
It's a secret.
Okay.
So I will tell you, it's down here on the floor.
Yeah, it's right here.
But Amy likes it.
It's Amy approved.
And it's so I will tell you this: a lot of times people do covers and they don't tie into the story. Larry's cover ties into the story, and my secret cover ties into the story. That's all.
I backed that one, so.
So yep, this one you get a special Simon Bisley concept sketch cover. So his concept sketch as a cover, and then his holofoil print. It's the only way to get those 2 items.
$375. That's not bad for everything was for Simon.
Yeah. This is the Ninja Supreme. Yep. You get a standard of each of the 4, a hollow foil of each of the 4, and a metal of each of the 4, plus the mystery item for $6.50. And then this is us too. We don't do unlocks. We said we're not going to do unlocks, so we have the NinjaWitch bobblehead is now a sticker. The Simon Bisley we turned into a hollow foil sticker, and the Joel Gomez is Joel's so cool. I don't know what we ordered. We ordered something from Joel, and he just drew that.
I think it was when we got the La Llorona one.
Maybe he added it in as like a bookmark.
Uh-huh.
So we're turning around and doing it as a 1-to-1 size sticker, and then we have a secret hollow foil print. Because we do a 6x9 print with every Kickstarter. So.
All right. Then we got the 2 new books as well. So this is where you guys can add on.
And honestly, $100 for a metal cover is not a bad price.
No. There we go. Hammer of the Gods.
I did that cover, which for me, some people were teasing me. They're like, "Wait, you can draw guys?" I was like, "Yes, I can draw guys."
My mother.
Yeah. Do you want to answer that question, Amy?
Yes. I think
you got to read the question.
Okay. There it is. Yeah. Yes, we do actually have other spinoffs planned. Nothing done yet. But yeah, probably it would definitely be after the omnibus.
And will Anastasia have another book?
Anastasia will have another book.
Ooh.
Anastasia will.
And then here's the metal prints.
Yep.
125.
Yeah, they're gorgeous. This is the biz give.
Everybody got them back.
If not, it's going to go on a shelf somewhere.
Well, you got space right there.
I do. Well, that's his original stuff. I'm not putting it in here.
Right.
So we might be able to use it to pay Dave lunch instead of letting him do the lettering and just send him Simon Bisley original. So,
I mean, how many people can say they have an original of his? Like, I would have loved to have one of his old heavy metal covers from back then, but
yeah.
Because I remember watching Julie Strain, in fact, too, came out, I'm like, and I saw that first, heavy metal that he did. I'm like, oh my God, it looks awesome.
Yeah, his style is super, super distinct. Like, if you're a fan of that stuff, like you can look at it and be like, oh, that's a Soriamo, right? That's a Ruiz, that's a Julie Bell, that's a right. All the others, and you look at it and you're like, that's a biz.
Yeah.
And so now we have 3 Simon Bisley pieces of OA in the house.
You lucky bastard.
I have the Lobo cover, which is super fucking cool. I have the sketch, his original sketch, and then we have his actual cover piece. So, which is cool. I mean, we have original art from Anna Zhao.
Joe.
Anna Zhao.
Moog
Park, Doppelhammer, Mike Chrome, the Balfo, Gomez.
We have Jen Leonard's.
No.
Hers was digital.
Yeah, we have Bella Racklin, Aiden Kurbis, Simon.
I'm
just trying to go through. We have Larry Toussaint's original.
We've had a lot, and I can't remember.
Yeah, we try to buy the originals too because A, we think that's a good way to support the artist, and B,
they're just so cool.
It's cool. It's cool.
lack of a better word, like seriously, everybody just it's amazing what they've done with all of the covers. Amazing.
I mean, you think about it, it's history, right? It's history for you guys as mythos because that's every cover that's been produced and printed into a book. So I mean, you're not going to be able to say, "Oh, I've got every cover," right? Unless you've done what you guys have done and bought it.
Yeah, actually, we have one backer who has more covers. After our archives, he's got the next biggest mythos collection. He gets the Supreme Ninja every campaign. And it's kind of cool, right? Because he wants to have that history. And he's got 2.5 long boxes of NinjaWitch.
Damn.
So it is pretty fun.
Yeah.
So, and that's the thing. Like he even said last time, on book 4, he's like, the price went down by like $200 and something. He goes, that allowed me to go buy something else somewhere else and not worry about it. And like even this one for the $650, he was like, he goes, just knowing that whatever the mystery item is going to be so effing cool. He goes, just waiting to see what it's going to be is just, it's worth it. Right. And then the uniqueness of whatever that mystery item is
yeah, it's just fun having fans, like having people who actually enjoy not only like having these covers, but reading the book and reading the story and are excited about the story coming out.
Yeah. And now that book 4 is done, if you have questions on book 4, Nate, we're happy to discuss it because sorry, folks, if you haven't read it yet, that's on you. You got to read it now.
I'm not trigger warning. What is it?
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. That's
trigger warning.
Trigger warning.
I read it. No!
Trigger warning.
So.
No, I mean, the biggest thing is I just want to see how this is going to turn out in 5, right? We've been on this ride for a while for the first 4 books. So I want to see how she turns up, back into where we started at and to see where that story is going to go, right?
Yeah, I think it's going to surprise people. So it was cool because we were writing. So for those who don't know, Amy created the character and the story is mostly Amy's idea. And then I'll throw something and then will like bat it back and forth. And then I'll write like a majority of a script. And then I'm like, okay, here's this. And then like on this one, I was like, fuck, I'm stuck. I need to get from here to here. I know what the end scene's supposed to be, but I don't know how to do the transition scene. So we bat it back and forth and I'd write it. And then I'd be like, what about this? And she goes, well, what about this? And I'm like, all right, I don't know how to do that. So I'd rewrite part of it and then I'd write backwards and then try to fill it in. And then as we go right now, as we work on it, we send it to the interior artist, the colorist, and the letterer because they have to be able to visualize it too, to buy into the book, to make it fun, right? Because if they don't buy into it, you'll see it in the lack of attention to detail. But this one, like the way the characters are involved, everything that's written, every panel means something. Nothing in this book is pointless. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you watch a movie and you're like, oh, I missed that. And you go back and you watch it, like, how did I miss that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, book 4 was
really pay attention.
Yeah. Book 4 had kind of that at the end, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there's also things in book 4 that mean something in book 5. There's stuff in book 1 that means something in book 5. There's something in book 5 that you're going to read it and it'll make something in book 1 make sense. Like they're all a web back and forth. And you're going to go back and people are like, how did I not notice? Because characters are interacting in different ways. And it looks like just an interaction until you get to book 5. Then you're like, shit, how did I miss that? Then you're going to go back to read 1, 2, 3, 4. And everything that's written means something new now because of what's going to happen in 5. I think that's it, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's why I'm going to read the first 4 again when 5 comes out, because just for that reason, right? Because it all ties together. It's like if you remember Days of Future Past, right, from the X-Men, right? That story was bonkers like that, right? Like you had to understand why it was going back and forth to the different pieces, but once you tied it together, it made logical sense the way it happened. And so, yeah, I'll be reading it all over again just for that reason. I always do that, especially when a trade paperback comes out too, right? Because sometimes when you read as a trade paperback, it flows a lot faster, right? Because you're not taking bags and boards out, right? But at the same time, you're like, oh, something's printed just a little bit differently, right? In that trade paperback, you see it differently.
Yeah. The book 6, the next book will basically be like, if you read book 1, you can go right to book 6, but you'll be lost unless you read 2 through 5. Does it make sense? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, it's a jumping off point. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, we had a question that was posed in book 1, which is an allusion to the rest of it. And then in book 5, it goes back and they actually have that quote of that. And what we use when we're talking to people at a convention is, here's where the story was, but in order to take the story forward, we had to go back. So in order to introduce a certain character in books 6 and 7, we have to give you books 2 through 5. Otherwise, it's more of just somebody just appearing with a why. So we're basically kind of giving you the backstory without giving you the backstory. And there's still a lot more to it that's not going to be told. Do you know what I mean? Because we want people to read each one with like some type of cliffhanger. We're like, but what's next? You know?
Yeah, that's what makes you come back for the next one, right? Like if you don't have a cliffhanger and it just ends, it's like, okay, that it loses readers, you know, a lot of the time too. Yeah. And the way you guys have kind of interwoven the story between 2 through 4, right, is like that's the historical piece, the origin story, right, that a lot of people do. But the difference is like it's her iteration as she's going through different parts of the history,
right?
So it makes sense as you go through it. But to jump from 1 to 5 without knowing 2 through 4, I think a lot of people would actually be lost because of understanding where she actually comes from, right? Yeah. And then how she started out and how she goes through this. So,
yeah, and I think the other part is we wrote it in a way that if you're a reader who's like, oh, this is going to happen next, we wrote it in a way that you're going to be wrong.
I know you pissed me off a lot in this book. I'm that guy. I'm the guy like, oh, this is going to happen. No, it doesn't. And that actually makes it more entertaining, actually, for me.
Well, a lot of comics are, and Amy doesn't read comics, but movies, she can talk to this point. There's a predictability about them, and you're regurgitating old shit. There's almost nothing new to some things. Now, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of cool indie comics that are super unique. Sapphire Spectre to come off for it, right? The Oswald Chronicles. Those are all like really unique. Fallen Leaves, even they have their own unique stories. But a lot of stories out there, if you read the big two, they're so flat. And like, how many times can Batman fight the Joker or Darkseid, right? At a certain point, you're rehashing the same story with a different flavor. So hopefully this gets to a reader and they're like, it's new. It's not a sexualized female. It's a badass female. When she shows up, shit's about to happen. And when she talks, everything she says is with a purpose and with an intention, So
Yeah, I think that's the biggest issue with the top two right now is that every crisis has been done over and over and over in the stories that we had like from the 80s, right? When they came out, when the first crisis on Infinite Earths happened. That was a game changer. We killed the Flash, we killed Supergirl, right? Never been done at that point, right? Like we didn't really kill characters, back then too often.
Was it Elektra? When Elektra got killed,
Elektra got
everybody was like,
killed.
"What the f?" Right?
Yeah, Elektra got killed. And
Robin.
then Robin, what's his name? Jason Todd got killed by the Joker.
Yeah.
That was the dark era of the 80s, right? That changed everything, the Frank Miller style, whatnot. But those kind of stories are gone. Those individual stories like that, because they've been regurgitated. And there's a multiverse and a multiverse of this, multiverse of that, right? And how many times can Wolverine die, right? And bring him back to life again,
Yeah.
So it's like that kind of stuff is what kills a lot of readers now. And that's why indie is actually trying to do something different than that, right? And that's why I appreciate you guys giving us new stories and new ideas, because that's what makes it fun. That's why I like Garth Ennis, right? That's why I like, all these independent writers, out there. I mean, even Alan Moore, right? Even as crazy as he is, he still writes some great books.
Yeah.
Where do you see this going? I'm gonna be a viewer.
NinjaWitch?
Where do you see NinjaWitch going?
What do you mean, in stories and stuff?
Just the direction of the stories, the character, the what's left to be told.
Everything. Oh my gosh. She is like over 700 years old. We have all of history to go. We have, we can go into the future if we wanted.
Well, that's what I was going to ask about, right? Was the future piece of this, right? Like I could see, the different sagas per se, right? It's like you start here, you have a little bit of a history here, then you have some more main story, then you have more history, right? And then you have the main story, and it can just catapult throughout the different time frames, right? But eventually, we're going to get to the future, and that's what I'd be kind of, interested to see, like, what does the Sanctum look like in 2400 AD, right? Something like that. Where is she at? Because she's essentially immortal almost, so
Yeah.
And see, like, how does that turn out in the future?
Yeah, I think with that, ironically, we had a friend message us that they were dreaming the other night that NinjaWitch was in a spaceship, and our friend had drawn her in a spaceship, and which is totally not a direction we've thought of. But to your point, like, who knows, right? And
we just have so much. And there's so many stories to tell, and it's a lot of fun. And then if this could get turned into like a TV show or a movie or a cartoon, would be freaking sweet. And I think it would translate well to TV or movie.
And there's always going to be a balance of good versus evil, right? One is never going to win over the other. It's just the way the balance the universe works itself out in the way chaos theory, right? So she can fight all she wants to prevent certain things, but at the other part is, and this is what makes her cool, is she knows the direction, she knows where she has to go to stop things from happening. But how much do you actually have control versus what's going to happen is going to happen?
And what does she? What does she decide to let go?
Right. Yeah. What does she decide to let go? What does she decide to allow to happen versus not happen? And maybe when she intervenes on something, maybe it's changed it, where if she didn't, it would be something else. Right.
Well, it's like you talk about alternate timelines for a reason, right? Like if you do X, Y should happen, right? But if you don't do X, then Z will happen, right? And you just split a timeline of what it could do. What happens if you go back in time and she was made evil instead of good, right? And then see how her timeline would have been different as an evil character versus a good character.
Right. And, a lot of people look at it and they're like, Ninja Witch, and oh, there's a pentacle. She's automatically evil, and we're like,
No.
nah, you got to read it, man. You got to understand what symbology is, and look at all of her symbols, right? And then understand where she came from. And the flashback scenes in the origin story really shows a lot. And how do I say this? I want to say it without saying it. If you pay attention to the origin story, things make sense in book 5. If you skip the origin story, certain things won't make sense. And there's a lot of that where sometimes in order to be good, and this is the problem you have in the military, right? In order to do good, sometimes you have to do bad.
Yep.
Right? But is it bad if the intent is for good? So it's that whole thing of, you got 30 people on a bus and 2 people over here, but one person on the bus is a murderer. So can I save the other 29 on the bus, or do I sacrifice it? Like, what's your give and take? So when you're watching it, it's pretty cool. So some of the stuff we put in there is definitely, and actually it's engaged in book 5. There's a question that comes out. Anne asks a very specific question, and Ninja Witch gives her the quasi-philosophical answer, and she has to figure that out. So that's you. You get to answer all that stuff.
Yeah, it's you.
Yeah. So Ninja Witch in space, she really landed in Roswell in Area 51. Maybe.
No. She didn't land there.
No, she didn't land there because that happened a while ago. If she goes into space, it will definitely be in the future.
Will it?
But right now, she didn't land in Area 51.
We could always pull a Star Trek, right, and send it, back in time, right, and do it.
Oh,
and say
she does. She has to go back and save the whales in 1983.
That's right. It save us from that movie again, right?
What do you mean? What?
Star Trek the movie.
I got to get her brought up to Star Trek.
I watched a Star Trek. You had me watch a Star Trek.
Yeah, number 4.
What did we watch? What one did I watch?
You watched Wrath of Khan with me.
Yeah.
The best one.
Thank you. So in 4,
Khan.
they go back to Earth in San Francisco in the 80s because they have to save whales because whales are becoming extinct. And in the future, you find out that whales are from another planet and they're here to help protect us. So it's part of the whole, in the 80s when the movie came out, there was a whole got to save the whales. Greenpeace is great.
Gotcha.
Leonard Nimoy wrote the story and everything. And they actually go back and they steal a Klingon bird of prey ship which is at the end of the search for Spock in number 3. And they use, in order to go back in time, they have to slingshot around the sun, and the sun slingshots and sends them back in time. And then they have to get the right propulsion and redo the ship in order to be able to put the whales inside the spaceship. And then they fly them back through to land them and put them back into San Francisco Bay in the 2500s.
Okay.
Anyway.
I remember.
It's kind of cool. They're sitting there, right? And they go to a computer, and in the future, it's like, computer, can I do this? So they got a mouse, and he goes to mouse. So Scotty's like, computer. He does. He's trying to do it, and they're trying to build a computer, and they're like, everything's so archaic. And then at one point, they're trying to develop this polymer glass. And this is kind of the bootstrap paradigm that Nate's talking about of if you change history. So they have to build this glass, but in order for them to put glass in there, it would have to be so thick and so much weight, and the ship wouldn't be able to hold it. So Scotty was like, oh, well, there's this polymer that was designed 50 years after this event's taking place. And it's like an inch thick, but it's stronger than 12 feet of steel and all this other stuff. So McCoy's like, you can't give it to him. And Scotty's like, why not? He's like, because it hasn't been invented yet. And Scotty's like, how do you know he didn't invent it? So Scotty gives the guy the formula. So did the guy really invent it, or did he just use Scotty's formula? So which means that it's in the future. So there's this loop of this one thing that has to happen. So they have to go back in time to save the whales to give the guy the formula in order for them to have it in the future to build a starship. Anyway.
I've actually talked to people about that. That should have created a paradox at that point, right?
Correct.
Because and everything should have just died, literally, at that point. because you can't have two timelines on top of each other.
Right. That's a bootstrap paradigm. If you go back in time and you cause something to happen, which affects the future, can you actually do that, or was it already destined? Because now you're in a loop, because that person in the future has to go back again. So, yeah, there's a whole Doctor Who. Well, not but there's a lot of Doctor Who episodes on that too. So it's all very smart stuff. It all makes perfect sense. So,
and I enjoy those ones. Those are always fun, especially like I wish Star Wars would do some stuff like that, but they never do.
They did.
Not successfully.
I got a theory. Okay, so Amy's fading on this one. So George Lucas was inspired by Bigfoot to do Chewbacca. Okay,
yeah, makes sense.
What if Wookiees crash landed on Earth later and became Bigfoot? So he's actually inspired by Wookiees to create Wookiees. The other one is Indiana Jones, Star Wars, and Star Trek all exist in the same universe.
I actually would agree to that. And
because
the reason why.
Yeah. You want me to go or you go?
No, you go.
Okay. In Star Trek Darkness, right, when the Calvin's getting ripped apart, part of the space you see R2-D2 flying through space. Okay. Mm-hmm. So there's one. Okay. So that takes Star Wars to Star Trek, right? In Indiana Jones, when he goes into the Well of the Souls to get the Ark, R2-D2 and C-3PO are on the wall, carved into the stone.
Yep,
the club is Club Obi-Wan, right? And then one of the license plates is TK421. So when you look at that stuff, so it's now I'm tying Star Wars to Indiana Jones, but we've already tied Star Trek to Star Wars, which means Indiana Jones is tied to that. And then the other theory is that when Han Solo went in the Carbonite, he dreamt all the adventures of Indiana Jones. It's a theory.
It's fascinating.
And which one was it? 6? Star Trek 6?
6.
With the Borg?
Undiscovered Country?
Yeah. And the Millennium Falcon.
No, that's First Con. No, that's Nemesis.
Yeah, that's the one. The Millennium Falcon is flying by the Borg ship.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then in what's the one where they land, the last one, number 10, Star Wars number 10, The Last Jedi, when they're going into the ships and they're all the Star Destroyers are floating and everything, in the very back of it is one of the shuttlecraft from Star Trek.
Yeah.
So they're all tied together.
Well, and there was always a theory, too, that Indiana Jones actually was the descendant of Han Solo, too, right? Like that's from his family. And then and that's why they're all a pain in the ass, because they're all the same as they go through it. But yeah, I could see them being in the same universe. I mean, and even there's been talk about Blade Runner as far as being a piece of that too, right? Where in 2049, right, that's where we started working. Picard started working in the world, right, to start doing things. Helm and Shatner did.
Yeah,
but yeah, it would be cool to actually see Picard and Obi-Wan in an actual show together. Yeah,
I could see that. That would be cool. And then the other part is, if kind of talking about that, is if you look at NinjaWitch, we take historical events that aren't answered and we answer them with the what if, right? I mean, that's how you get book 1, right? Amelia Earhart, right? I mean, and then
what happened to her?
Yeah. So, which, by the way, we will be probably featuring that giant kaiju as a T-shirt. We've been talking about it.
Yeah.
Nice. So, I just paid you for my shirt. So.
Yeah. Yep. Those are being printed. They're going to ship out on Tuesday. So, yeah, for the guy, he got a Godzilla shirt.
Oh, okay.
So
I had to. It's Gojira. I grew up with Gojira.
I tried to do it kind of stylized and stuff like that. I thought it was fun. His brain is melting right now. Yeah, it's a small. He wants the monster on his shirt. Yep. Her?
Nobody wants me.
Oh,
on
the
a shirt.
kaiju. I thought you meant
The
that one.
kaiju.
Nobody wants me on a shirt.
Yeah, you do.
I'll put you on. I'll put me on a shirt for you. How's
There you
that?
go. Yeah, in the costume.
In my costume.
Yeah, your sword. Yeah, I mean, and in book 4, we introduced the forest scene, which is ties to the Call of Cthulhu,
Oh, the jungle.
the jungle scene. Yeah. Now, do you remember? So, actually, I'm going to back up really quick if I can, Nate. In book 4, we introduced the pub, the big tavern, right? It's called the Old Bald Moose Tavern, and you remember you got the sticker, right? I got Slosh.
Yeah, I got the sticker.
So in the book, I named it after a friend of mine who used to do stuff with Valiant and had his own talk show and all. Super good friend over probably about an 8-year period. Every time he was at a show, we talk. He's big into whiskey and comics. We always exchange. His name is Chris Amundsen, and he was called the Bald Moose. That was his nickname. So probably about my size, maybe a little bit taller, totally bald, big broad guy, but super calm, super nice. So in the book, we called the tavern that, and I put a little, like a footnote, and it says, C. Amundsen from Maine, known for the moose up there, went down to Tortuga and started the bar so he can like give out drinks and stuff like that and have fun. Well, this Valentine's Day, he passed.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So we went to his celebration of life, and a lot of his family came by, and they came up to Emerald City, and we were giving out stickers for free and stuff like that. So we gave copies to his wife. So he's immortalized in canon in NinjaWitch as an actual character. And, even though he's passed away, his character's still in there. And we actually put him in the book before he passed. And he actually was reading it 2 days before he passed and was showing his wife that he's in the book. So there's a lot of special stuff in NinjaWitch. Tony Anderson's in NinjaWitch. Haley Anderson, Dave Viverito, Amy, Gabe.
Our dogs.
Both dogs are in it. They're in book 4. They're dancing in the party. So Philly and Izzy are in there. Yeah, we just get to drop a lot of cool things in that, which is fun. So I didn't mean to drop the mood, but thought it was important.
Well, I'm happy that he got to see it before he passed.
Yeah.
Because at least he got to see that part, and enjoy it.
So yeah. So anyway, we got a lot of cool stuff. Maybe we'll do a Bald Moose Tavern T-shirt. I think it would look cool.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we're definitely having fun with this. What's up?
Nothing.
What are you gonna say?
I don't know. You can say it. Things have been going around. Like,
you can put it out.
Can we?
Sure.
Well, we're even thinking about making like a NinjaWitch whiskey.
I'm buying it.
Maybe not like
No, actual whiskey.
Would we go to like a distillery and
Go to
have our
Heritage.
own? I think.
Yeah.
And then like bottle it, have like the NinjaWitch whiskey and everything, and it'd be, yeah.
I love whiskey and I love bourbon.
Yeah, we're talking whiskey and bourbon, and then we're kind of kicking around with beer, but we have a lot of local whiskey distilleries up here. So, yeah, that was one of them. It was NinjaWitch, and then was the other one.
I think one of them was a Bald Moose.
We're gonna do. Oh no, the kaiju. We were gonna have kaiju whiskey, and it has the different kaijus on it. So, because there's more to come with that storyline.
Good. I'm glad we get more kaiju.
So, demons and artifacts are very important in this story. That's all I'm going to say. Pay attention. Go back and read it. And for those who don't know, if you go to the incantation that the priest does to release Oxmorset in book 1, if you take it and you write it backwards, and then now it's in Filipino, now you translate that to English, you actually have an incantation to call a spirit. So
I actually figured that part out because my wife's Filipino, right?
Oh, there you go.
So she's like, that looks familiar.
So
she's like, I'm not saying it though.
Yeah. So we had, there's actual incantation. We Black Sabbath the shit out of it, made it backwards. So a lot of fun.
You know
stuff.
what you need? You need like one of those little 3-inch vinyls, right? Like they make for like record stores, right? And just put that on there
and let them play it backwards.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, there we go. That's nice.
So there's that actually is a good segue into some of the stuff with, if you've ever read The Exorcist and you're familiar with the characters from The Exorcist, you'll understand a certain part that's going to happen in book 5. So,
I know the whole thing forwards and backwards.
So when you get to it in book 5, you'll understand what I'm talking about. Book 5 is a dynamic book. The first 8 or 9 pages is really setting a tone. It's really understanding some characters at a deeper level. It's provides an allusion to certain things, and it has references to previous books. Introduces a brand new character that will eventually have her own spinoff. That is one of Amy's favorites. Of you got to put her in there, and it's been since book 1. When are you going to put her in here? I can't fit her in. When are you going to put her in here? I can't fit her in.
Which one?
When are you going to put her in?
Now.
So, and then I
So
wrote
there's
it.
a couple people.
I wrote it, and I was like, "Here," and she goes, "Finally, is that hard?" I was like, "Yes, it was actually." So
You just made it hard.
yes, but there's a lot of historical references, and it ties to the exact time of 1721 in world politics. We demonstrate how far advanced the sanctum is on certain things versus the rest of the world. There's an important reason that they can do what they do. But there's also this whole thing's called the dawn of betrayal. And by the time you get to the end of this book, you're not going to know who's betraying who. Like, where is the betrayal, right? And it really sets it up to a point of when you get to the end of book 5, you're going to look back at book 1 and be like, holy shit, this whole thing means something totally different now. Like, you can read book 5 and then flip the last page of book 5 and pick up book 1. It full circle.
It's all going to go around.
100%. And if you haven't read book 1, when you get to the end of book 5, you'll be like, I don't get it until you do.
And that's the thing too, right? Some people, I mean, it's been a while since book 1 came out, right? In comparison. So it's like, I highly recommend everybody to read it all over again.
I remember.
2.5 years?
Yeah.
2 years?
That long?
2 years.
I can't believe it's been that long already.
The first one came out. Oh shit. When did the first one come out? Hold on. Say it, Amy. Hold on. Wait a minute.
I said, hold up.
Okay, we'll say hold up.
I just did.
All right. So book 1. May 19th of 2023. Book 1 came out.
Man.
So this May will be 2 years for 6 books because Anastasia counts. So yeah, we'll hit 6 books in 2 years this May. And then this book ships in June. So
I And I will say this too. I appreciate how fast things come out from you guys, right? Like I'm not waiting 8 months to get a book or 2.5 years from another company.
Well, we know how frustrating that is, and we don't. You know, you guys spend money. You want the product.
Well, that, and you know, it's the responsibility of the creative team that makes a book to get the book to somebody. And if you know it's going to cost $5,000 to make the book, ship the book, and do everything, and your goal is $2,000, you bring in $2,300, don't bitch and whine that you're $1,700 short. Have the $1,700 set aside somewhere. Meet your damn obligation. Send the shit out. And if you're like, oh, I didn't make enough money, that's on you, right? And for us, like, we know that this particular one, you saw it, we're at like 3,900. That doesn't cover it, right? So at some
both
point,
know that.
we're spending money for you to get a book, right? So, but we know that. We budget that because we also know that it takes a bunch of eggs to make an omelet. So we're going to spend a little bit so that eventually it's there and it has a solid foundation and people are looking at it, right? And to your point, we're fulfilling our obligations within weeks. This one had a small little hiccup because when I was writing it, I kept rewriting it. So we couldn't just push through. But typically we're shipping within 2 weeks because Kickstarter, for those who don't know, your campaign ends, you have to wait 2 weeks before you can get funded from Kickstarter. So that in that time period, some people, not saying you, Nate, but just as an example, let's say Nate pledged $100. Kickstarter tries to get the money from Nate. If I've already sent this stuff and his check bounces, he just got it for free. So we have to wait for Kickstarter to tell us who they collect the money from so we know how to send the stuff. So the quickest we'll ever send something is in 2 weeks. And the quickest we sent was 16 days from the end of thing. We had everything out in the mail. So.
And that's the thing, right, too, is like, because some people move, like I just moved, right? So I had to give you my new address.
Yeah.
You know, or if you get a new card or something like that, right? It'll bounce sometimes, but most people are pretty good about it. They'll just go back and fix it and you'll click it and it's good to go. Some people actually I've seen wait that whole 7-day period, right? Like they overshot it, right? Like, well, don't pledge that amount if you know you're not going to cover it.
Right. And then we've had people who they for some reason it doesn't work. So they're like, can I PayPal you? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. At the end of the day, you're like
still paying.
Yeah, we're still paying it, right? And but on the same sense, like people are doing it, to your point, know what you're pledging, make it available. But also on the same sense, if I send you out a survey twice and then I send you 2 more emails and you still don't reply, sorry, I'm not chasing you. That's not my responsibility. No. Yes, you paid $30 for something. I don't know your address. I don't know if you want signatures on it. I don't, because I'm not just going to blind ship something, right?
Yeah.
So we reach out. And after a while, we're like, okay. And then sometimes people get a really damaged book, which we had a guy who got one that was, I don't know how it happened, but every corner, all 4 of them got like somebody just like pressed them and twisted. So he sent me his picture and I was like, yeah, you show me you destroying them. We'll get those reprinted. And when we send you book 5, we'll put them in and get them off to you. Easy breezy, right? You don't have to worry about it. So we try to take care of everybody. We pack stuff really well. Like when
our distribution manager is on it.
Yeah, Gabe. Like when you get your original art, Nate, that's gonna be like
Fort Knox.
Yeah, it literally, that's what I told somebody. I said I pack like Fort Knox. Yeah. This guy actually got some original art and some comics the other day. So I packaged all the original art like super well, and then I put the comics into a comic mailer and put that in the box also. So it's like, cool, I got my comics. When are you gonna send your OA? I'm like, dude, it's in the box.
Keep digging.
And he's like, no, there's all. I said, pull all that shit out. It's all in there. And he's like, holy hell. He's like, we're supposed to get to it. I was like, It's not getting damaged. Not when I send it. You're spending money. You're not. We're not messing around because I got original art from somebody. She knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
He takes it. He puts it in a sheet of 11 by 17. Sticks it in a bubble mailer and mails it to me. No hard.
I would have passed out.
No cardboard. Nothing.
And then our mail carrier, we do not have a very good mail carrier. And this one in particular ended up like folding it.
Yeah, the top
to
half.
Put it in, to get it into the box.
And when I messaged the individual, their answer was, well, that's not my fault.
Yeah.
The fuck it isn't. Dude.
You didn't package it with a shit. That is your fault.
Yeah. So that is the one piece I've ironed art. I had to iron it.
Oh yeah. Did you do the towel on top of it and then iron it, or did
towel and parchment paper? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I've done that too because I had got some art from Ni Rufino like that.
Yeah.
Where they had actually dropped it on the side, on the bottom of it.
Oh.
And Ni had packaged it really well, but that box was opened. Like literally it was opened. And I had to go find it because my last address, they were horrible. They were horrible. Like it was like eight houses down. Because 8 houses down, like I was 2219, right? They were 2209.
Oh wow.
Right. And so it was so close that they're like, oh, somebody just didn't see it right. But I ended up having to take an iron it out as well. And so I've been there. I know how that goes.
It's frustrating. And we now you got some people though, they pack art and it's like it's a 4-day struggle to get the art out. And you don't want to cut because you're afraid you're gonna cut the art, right? So you're taking your time doing it.
But I'd rather have that than a mail carrier being able to fold it.
Yeah.
Or have it like slip through somehow crunch up in transit somehow.
Yeah, like when I pack stuff, I do the whole test. I'm like, can it bend? Can it bend? Oh, a little bit. 3 more pieces of foam or a piece of wood. Duct tape the shit out of it. Oh, you want bubble wrap? Here's some more bubble wrap.
Well, like when Bisley sent us his OA, we got it and it was pinned between 2 pieces of plywood.
Yeah.
That thing was not bending.
Yeah.
It was nice.
Well, and that's like, I'll go to Home Depot, right, and get the particle board if I mail out OA stuff for that reason, right?
Yeah.
It's about this thick, and you just cut it to size, right? Chris Enoch had told me how to do it, and I'm like, okay, let me try, and it works great. I put it between the 2 boards, and then I wrap it, and then I bubble wrap it again, and then mail it out. So your box, it starts out like here, and it's about this thick by the time you're done.
Yeah, the last one I mailed out was a 2-inch thick box, and then I always put OA into like a top loader first, and they all get their own, and then that goes into something else. Like even the rigidity of that after a while, it gets there. So we're pretty good on that.
Yeah.
So
yeah, y'all done good. The only thing that I've ever got messed up was the Joel Gomez print that you sent me.
Oh,
and that wasn't you. Yeah, the big one. And that wasn't you. That was my post office being an idiot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because we mounted that on foam core and then we packaged it and everything, and it shouldn't have. Those are the ones we did. The big sheets.
Yeah, the commemoratives.
Yep.
Yeah. So Joel was cool about that too, because I sent it to him. I got him. And I was like, hey, can you sign these and number them? He's like, yeah. So he does it. And we pay the postage to go to him, and we give him the postage money for him to mail it back, right? Because it's not his responsibility. So then I get it, and I'm looking, I'm like, holy shit. He did a remark on every single one of them and never asked. I was like, dude, can I? He's like, I don't want any money. I had fun. Like, this is so cool.
And then when he and his wife were at Emerald City last year, people would buy the comic with his cover on it, and then we'd send them over to him. And he signed them, no problem.
Yeah. You want to click that?
I can't see which one. Oh. Getting dark.
Oops. What the hell?
I don't know.
Power outage.
There we go. So We have I have an R2D2 desk lamp.
Nice.
Why wouldn't you have an R2D2 desk lamp? So yeah. So tonight or this week, I'll finish that cover. We have an idea for something else that's going to be unique. We print everything here in the U.S. So it costs a little bit more, but we're very firm on we're supporting small jobs, keeping people employed. It's really good relationship with the printers. If we have to do adjustments or whatever, it's like that. But you're talking about the felt. I was on the phone with them today with an idea of a felt blacklight cover. So they're going to get back to me. And
who has a blacklight anymore that could actually?
Every fucking nerd has a backlight.
Do you really? Oh my god!
Yes, I still have my old ones.
Yeah.
Oh, we don't have a blacklight. You're a nerd.
That lightsaber is a blacklight lightsaber out there.
Oh. I used to have a blacklight, but that was for Halloween.
You don't have a blacklight. You don't know me. Yeah, but a felt cover with blacklight.
I'm all over that. It's
Yeah,
like a leather covers. Like, we used to do those leather covers, back in the early 2000s, right? Everybody loved those. I did, especially when Chaos and Avatar was doing them back then. I grabbed all of those. But they're just Brian was telling me they're so hard to do now.
Yeah,
it costs so much.
The embossed ones are hard too. Garrett Gunn just did wood. He did a couple of wood covers. But they're very, very expensive, and motherfuck. it's art too. He's been like that since I had him. It's like the bulb is in all the way, but it's just fucking wonky.
Blinded by the light.
Yeah.
I don't know where I won that. I can't remember where I won it. I won that, and then I won the giant, the BB-8 lamp.
Oh, where is that?
Downstairs in the garage next to the R2D2 cooler.
Oh. We use that.
We have a giant R2D2 brisk iced tea cooler, and you go through it to get the stuff.
And we use it.
Yeah. Somebody broke it.
I was trying to be helpful and get it down, and it slipped.
But
just the lid. Wasn't it the lid?
The lid and the leg. The leg's
so
got a crack on it.
Gabe told me not to, and I wanted to help.
I mean, I almost forgot about it until now.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably with my blue hoodie.
Blue hoodie.
He lost a hoodie.
I had a favorite hoodie.
It's fine.
And somebody got rid of it. Don't know.
Don't point him. It wasn't. You lost it. You laid it around somewhere and you lost it. Or the washing machine ate it because it was hanging on by a thread. I don't know.
It was one of those hoodies. It's got all the holes in it.
I didn't care enough
the sleeves are all falling apart.
It sounds like one of my old concert shirts that just magically disappears.
Yeah.
If you wear it enough, it just disintegrates. I didn't care about it enough to want to throw it away.
I wanted to be buried in it. Now my whole dreams are shot. I can't.
You're being cremated.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to be cremated with it. So, but anyway, yeah, man, NinjaWitch is doing good. Our books are doing good. We have another story.
It's just leave it at this point.
We have another story concept that we're putting on hold. Ruby's Raiders, we're putting on hold because we really want to focus on NinjaWitch. We know there's a lot of indies who have 4 or 5 titles out there and stuff, and we would rather keep our resources on one and really develop it. But one thing that we keep asking, we've only had like 2 people do it, is we don't know how people receive this, Nate, unless people tell us. So if they go to the Facebook page, if they go to the Instagram page, or you can even go to the actual website, but if they message, she runs all the social media, and it's hey, book 3, I saw this. I'm curious about this. Book 4 is this. I'm curious about that. All that is in there. That's how we make them better. And actually, after book 2, 1 or 2,
3.
No.
That's when we got our first.
Okay. Anyway, I got feedback and I was like, shit, this guy's right. Like, I took it as positive criticism that my writing was good, but book 1 and 2, I was writing the scenes and I knew what was going on, but I wasn't putting the monologue from the person's head into the story. So if you look at book 4, we put a lot more of them talking to themselves, right? So that you could immerse yourself with the characters. And book 5 is a lot more of that. So there's a lot more dialogue. And that explains a little bit more. So now people can understand a little bit more of the psyche of the characters and the id behind their what they're doing. And it makes it so when you're drawing them and they're acting one way, you can tie it together. And I wasn't doing that in the first 2 books because in my mind I was doing it as if it was a movie because I've written television script. So that's different than doing a comic script.
Oh, yeah.
Because in a movie you can use emotions and actions to stimulate emotions and write that energy. You can't do that in a comic. You have to explain that.
Gotta read it.
Yeah. So we do have more dark humor in book 5, the same way we did in book 1, and stuff like that. But there's a lot more philosophical in this one. If people have read Jung or some Aristotle, there's some stuff like from that. There's some stuff, some Philip Dick stuff in here. He did do Robots Dream of Electric Sheep, which became iRobot and stuff like that. So that those philosophies from some of that is tied into this. So people will probably catch some of that. And there is a huge Darth Vader reference in this one.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
Rest in peace, J. Merrill Jones.
Yep. What do you like about book 5?
I like that you use the character I've been begging you to put in there. And right.
Yeah.
I like that there's you get to get into the sanctum. You get to see the sanctum. Walk around the halls with them. And the epic 5 pages that are coming. Which
this is first for you to know. But Belladonna is a badass in this story.
Yeah.
Belladonna is a badass.
Finally.
And well, she was a badass in the other one.
I know, but
she literally poked the guy's fucking eye out in the pirate ship. But
that was so great. I love that scene.
The original OG story that we had more Belladonna as a main character. But it wasn't done right. It wasn't done like we wanted it to be. And so her whole story arc has kind of just been put like she's there. She helps. She's mentioned. She's there. She has done some things, but now I guess she's really coming out.
Well, character development takes time.
Yeah.
Right. When you want to do it like that.
And she doesn't really have a lot of talking parts. Like you've already seen where she flies out and she can see a ship and translate it back and she can see things to talk to NinjaWitch. But now you get to understand why she's there. There's actually an explanation of why Belladonna is with her. And it goes back to book 1. So that'll be there. But yeah, she's really instrumental in part of the scenes. And there is a serious what the fuck moment in this book. Actually, there's three moments in this book. But yeah, if you're a Star Wars fan, if you're a Demon fan, if you're a fan of Constantine, you'll get some of the innuendos, I guess. So
as long as his Constantine's gun doesn't show up, that will be okay.
No, this is think Constantine's interaction with Gabriel.
Okay.
Yeah, that whole pool scene. Yeah, that's there. And then Special K9, if you're who we think you are, he asked a lot of questions at Emerald City Comic Con. I know we sat down and checked, and he's totally lost, and he can't wait for book 5 either. So it's super excited, and when it's all done, we just can't wait. What we would like to do, Nate, is definitely one of these prints. Okay. You randomly select somebody of who's been on, and then get us their address, and we will get it mailed out to them.
So we'll do it this way, make it fair. Let me
I can't see it like that because it's a kneaded eraser. So when you make it a ball, my OCD won't allow it. So you keep doing that. But once you put it out, I gotta mush it.
All right. So we've had 3 people so far.
Okay.
So we're gonna do it.
Special K, Ted,
he's going for it. Special K9
and T fan page 101.
Special.
You think he put himself there?
Nah.
A tattoo toy hunter.
Don't.
So here's a quick question for you, Nate. Since you've been part of this whole thing, and you're involved in comics yourself, what would be something, not necessarily in this book, maybe in this book, maybe it's already there, something that would be just hasn't been done in a comic, or hasn't been done, not maybe necessarily in the book, but in the presentation of the book, right? Because I actually talked to Dave Lentz, who does the design work. We were talking about the omnibus, and not the omnibus, the trade paperback, and he's like, "You want me to put the credits at each chapter, or do you want to wait and have like a crazy page with all the credits?" I was like, "Dude, we'll do the cover with some of them, and then you'll like flip this clear page over, and it'll have more, and then this page will go over, and there's more, and then this page will go over. You just start stacking all of them, and it becomes this. When it's done, all the credits form a shape of a bird." He's like, "Dude, you're being ridiculous. Stop." I'm like, "Well, it would be cool." So, like,
I tell you what I would like to see is a chromium cover, like we used to have in the 90s, right?
Okay.
Like you remember those metallic kind of like covers, right?
Yeah,
you get them with like Wildcats, right?
Yep,
something like that.
Youngblood.
Youngblood. X-Men did it too, right? And then you would have
the guy from Valiant with the red on his chest.
Solar.
Bloodshot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Things like that. Like we don't see a lot of things like that anymore. But additionally, too, we don't see like letters to the editor anymore in books, right? Like an actual story, like like be able to talk to the like we talk through Messenger and things like that. But what about having a personalized letter, right? Like so, like a story to the fans, or the fans send stuff back to you guys, and it'd be printed in a book, like we used to do with Marvel.
We would do that,
yeah, absolutely.
We would do that in a heartbeat, and because we did the handwritten cards to everybody.
Yeah.
Where we stamped them and all. We would do it if people were to write us. Like, maybe we'll post that if they send us a message. It'll appear in the next book.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good idea. We would totally do that.
And then the other thing was, what about an advertisement for a different book? Remember how you used to get a comic and you'd have an ad, or we actually kicked around the idea. Dave and I kicked around the idea of doing like a spoof kind of page where you could order like your X-ray vision glasses and your Charles Atlas.
Oh yeah, I remember those.
Where it's all bullshit stuff, but like you used to be able to order a tank or remote control tank for like $50, $20. Or you could buy like X-ray vision glasses, and it would be like, but don't look at the girls. Your mom and dad.
Don't look at the app. I remember that.
And it was like you could buy the ant farm and a barrel of monkeys and all that stuff. So I think it would be neat to maybe do an ad for that where it's not real. It's just
fun.
Yeah.
It's like, remember when Mile High used to have their ads in the comics, and Comic Cavalcade used to, right? Where they would say, hey, you can buy all these books, right? Well, maybe have an order form.
Yeah.
Maybe a NinjaWitch order form. Like, for example, like variant covers that you still have if you're trying to get rid of inventory.
Self-addressing a stamped envelope for artifacts. So we create like artifact stickers, and if they mail in a self-addressed stamped envelope, we'll mail them. Like, that's the only way to get the stickers.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. Special K9. Every now and then you're allowed to have one, so don't spend them all now. It's my little brother.
All right.
Dave actually said, I wish he was my real uncle the other day.
Yeah, funny as in the back of old books. Yep. Or like the SS Kitty Hawk, where if you mailed in 4,500 UPCs, you got an aircraft carrier.
Oh, I remember those. I used to do that with Transformers all the time.
Yeah, Transformers, and then with like Star Wars, you could get for Yoda, or no, for Dagobah, you could get the mask that strapped onto them for when they were in the Millennium Falcon in the asteroid monster. Remember to put mask on? You had to send so many in, and you had to put them in to the thing of getting them, and then you would mail them off, and you get like the little envelope, and that's the only way to get those pieces. So
he would love that.
Fun.
He would love that.
Fun.
Special K9.
Okay, so let's see. All right, check this out. Click the spin. So we're gonna come up with a number and how many times you have to spin it.
5 seconds, and it keeps going until everybody's off. And so you get down to the last one.
Oh, it spins on its own. Oh, this is cool. I haven't seen this one.
Yeah, so this is wheel decide. This is what I usually use.
Yeah.
So, all right. So
okay. So who's gonna win?
Oh
no. So
he won.
Nope. No, we got 2 to go.
He's off.
He's off.
He's off. It kicks one off. The Tattoo Toy Hunter's off. So the last one remaining is this one, the TF
fan page.
That's the winner.
Right, that's the winner. Got
it.
That's
so you coordinate and shoot me their address, and we'll get something mailed out to them.
Definitely. He lives in Canada, by the way.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
No worries. Our tariffs aren't as high as theirs.
That's true.
So Special K9, first loser of the night.
All right. Well, yeah. So what's next for you guys? What's the next convention?
Honestly, I don't think we're doing anything until Grit City in end of November or beginning of November, end of October, somewhere in there.
Yep.
It's usually around that time.
Veterans Day. Right around Veterans Day.
Right around there.
And then next year we are looking at going to
Australia, down under.
Oh, you're going to go see Haley?
What's the one that starts with a T that Brian Perlito runs?
Oh, Tucson. Oh, I thought it was the Australia one.
We're not going to Australia.
Well, I thought we were talking about it.
We said maybe.
Yeah, no, we're going to Tucson.
We're going to do Tucson next year.
That's what I meant when I said down under.
Yeah, down under into Arizona, mate.
Into Arizona.
Well, you guys are smart.
So yeah, so we're gonna do Emeralds. So this year we're doing Grit City, which is a small one day in Tacoma, Washington. It is super intimate. It's old school. There's no tchotchkes. It's comics. It's like
$10
6
to get
artists. Yeah.
It's like very family friendly. There's no
giant cosplay thing. There's no big names. There's no like
sexy cosplayers walking around with like
it's family oriented. Yeah. But it's about 2,500 people come through. About 2,000 people come through.
That's how Cowtown is here. We don't have we get some big names here occasionally through, but it's mostly families.
But it's intimate. Local. It's intimate. Yeah. You get to talk to people, right? And then we'll have Emerald City next March, and then June, I guess it is. We'll do Tucson, and we'll just go from there and see. We do have some other things on the works behind the scenes. I'm working aggressively on some stuff. Book 6 will be this year. When 5 is done, we'll probably take like 2 months off to kind of breathe. Book 6 will come out this year. Simultaneously, we'll either have another Anastasia or another book to kind of spin that one. And then we were kind of kicking around an idea of doing an anthology of some sort. So we're trying to figure some stuff out. But definitely focus on Ninja Witch. The omnibus is going to be the big one. Trade paperback is just the stories with maybe one new cover. But the omnibus will have all the covers, all the stories, behind the scenes. It'll have the forward. It'll have art that's never been seen before. It'll have the how we came up with Ninja Witch, that stuff. We'll have interviews with some of the artists who've done stuff. Feature the different creatives. Everybody who's ever worked with the book will be in there at some way and addressed and thanked. And we've worked with probably 30 people at this time for the book. That'll all be in there. There will be some stuff that is very secret and you can only get there. And then
it'll be a big one.
And then the cover. Yeah, the omnibus is 340 pages, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm down with that.
It's solid. Well, you got to figure books 1 through 5 are, say, 30 pages on average, right? So you're already at 150, plus the extra 15 for book 1. So you're at 165, and then Anastasia, plus your filler pages. So the trade paperback's like 180 pages. So, but the omnibus will be something really unique and fun and solid. It's definitely something that we're also doing the omnibus at a different size.
Please tell me it's an oversized.
It is an oversized.
Thank God.
It's an oversized. We were actually looking at trying to make a option for book 6, which we're still trying to work on. Do you remember the old 1979 like Conan, the mega editions?
Yeah, the treasury editions.
Yeah, we're trying to get that, but a lot of printers won't make them. So I'm like 14 printers deep in my research right now of can you make this? And then one guy's like, "Oh, we can make a really big comic. It'll be 8.5 by 12." And I'm like, "No, I mean big. Like I want 12 by 16. Like I want big." So we will figure that one out. And then, we'll do that out. Amy's got all her neat ideas with whiskey and stuff like that. We're going to end up having we're going to get the webpage up and running. Well, we have the webpage. We're going to have the
buying stuff shop, the merch shop.
So you can get hoodies, hats, back issues. You can get prints direct. We might do some shop exclusives that are only on the shop, stuff like that. So we're going to try to work on that, and hopefully by the end of the summer, that's up and running. Eventually, we like to get to a point where we're not relying on Kickstarter, and it's more of a direct to fan, like a Lifefieldism, right? Direct to consumer. We're not there yet. And then definitely the next Kickstarter, we're going to figure out how to really increase the marketing aspect of it to drive numbers. We're looking at Walmart, of distribution at Walmart, stuff like that. We're looking at anybody who has a pocketbook and can write a check for at least 6 digits to buy parts of the rights. So, we're in a happy direction with it, and the story's going to keep going, and 2025 will be fun.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, you guys have grown a lot in the last 2 years too. Right? I mean, the story has definitely reached a lot of people now compared to the first issue. So a lot of people know who the character is, and that just takes time. Lady Death didn't go in one day, right? And it took a while for it to catch on too. So it'll get there. I got faith in you too. That's why I buy your book.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We've sold, I think we probably sold about, between all 4 books, not count 5, we've probably sold about 2,000 total. So not huge compared to some numbers, but
For independent owned, that's a lot of numbers actually.
yeah, and we sell a lot more at conventions than we thought we would.
Yeah.
We actually had people coming up to us because they read book 1 and 2, and they're like, I got to get 3 and 4.
Actually, I had a couple people. I don't know if you did, but a couple of people already asked if we had a trade paperback yet. It's like, no, but it's coming.
And we had one guy who bought the books, and the next day, remember, he came back and he's like, oh my God, I loved it. And
Yes.
then he bought more.
And the guy from Grit City
Yeah.
came back for book 5.
Yeah.
He bought 1, 2, 3, 4.
And then we had
4.
We had fans who came and brought their books that they had bought before, like when I did a signing at like a comic shop or something. They brought them just to go meet her, to have her sign them. So
because I can't be at all the shows.
Well, she's a celebrity. They get in line for her. So
Well, that's what I got to bring my books so she can sign them.
yeah. So
I signed a couple.
well, when's Cowtown?
Let's see. It's usually in October.
Do you guys have? Is it full?
No, I guarantee it's not full. Because I help with Charter Comics do it. Let's see. It is
Grit City Comic Con. Shit, when is this one? So Grit City's November 15th. So if you have one in October, and we can talk offline about being guests or something like that, we might be able to get some tickets and fly down.
definitely. Yeah, let me talk. Let's talk about it. We'll figure it out for you guys.
You're closer to Dallas, right?
I'm in the middle, right? So you got like Fort Worth here. Here's Dallas. I'm like right around here.
Yeah.
So
further,
but Dallas is only 20 minutes from my house here.
Yeah, she's got a friend. We both have friends down in the Houston, Alvin, area, Pearland. So, but yeah, it's northern Texas. You can still get real Mexican there. So.
Yes, we have really good Mexican food here.
Good, because we don't up here.
But you have good fish. I miss the fish in Seattle.
She doesn't eat
Not
seafood.
much of a seafood.
What? You're like one of the best places, especially the harbor.
Mm-hmm.
So I used to live in Renton, so I know the area.
Yep. She won't do it. So
I have friends that own a restaurant, and I went to a menu tasting and everything. So I ate the scallops. I ate salmon.
Yeah, but you don't like it, so that's why I don't cook it at the house out of respect.
Okay, and you did one time, and what happened?
It smelled fantastic
For like a week. Oh my God, it was so gross.
I had freshwater cod.
Oh yes.
And I did a buttered and hollandaise and all, and the house smelled like fish. So
for a
good.
whole week. It was so bad.
The dog was happy. I was happy.
No.
Well, you come here, I'll feed you fish, so you at least have some fish, Justin.
We can do it. So it's called
my wife's Filipino. We always eat something with seafood at least once a week.
What's the name of the town?
It's Fort Worth. That's where Cowtown is.
Oh, Cowtown Comic Con.
Yeah.
Sure. It's.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Yeah, they haven't put it up yet for this year.
So last year was beginning of October. So.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys had Tom Cook.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I did a panel with him once. He did all the Scooby-Doos and stuff like that.
Huh.
Yeah, Ryan and Chad come. Garrett comes here.
Yeah, get with me offline. We'll see what we can do.
Okay.
Austin St. John.
Austin St. John.
I also know a bunch of Power Rangers.
They a lot of them live here. Especially the old guys from like Mighty Morphin and some of the Zeo guys. So we see them all the time here or at Dallas Vintage Toys or other cons.
Yeah. So just let me know. I got a lot of contacts for that stuff.
Okay.
I
Definitely.
got some contacts for Chad Harden.
Yeah.
Remember I went to dinner with him and his wife with Mustafa.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Oh.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks
Sorry,
for
I
having
was looking at your guys' page.
Yeah. Cool. All right. We'll see you guys in the next one. Like I said, the links are down below. I put the group. Come join Mythos Comic Group down there, and then of course join the Kickstarter. Let's get to 200. I want to see somebody get that sketch.
We do,
especially me.
We do too, especially you. Yeah.
Especially
Well,
me.
you can. How many alter egos can you create really quick?
I don't know, but I can't do that many.
Okay.
My credit card will start screaming.
There you go. So,
All
we
right.
appreciate you having us
Yeah,
on.
thank you for having us.
Thanks.
Thank you, Amy. Thank you, Justin.
All right.
Bye.
We'll see you.
Thanks.